So story time. My son last year, he is amazing and he worked all summer at his first job landscaping. Like full-time landscaping in 40-degree weather for like 25 bucks an hour. I was so proud. And at the end of the summer, he bought himself a brand new mountain bike with his money that he earned. And he saved the money. Like, he's so great. So his dad and I switch off on Fridays. The Saturday of his dad's week, he breaks his collarbone mountain biking. Ugh. So I don't actually find out about it until the Monday. He's rushed to the hospital, our local hospital, where his stepmom works as a booking clerk. He's there overnight and is seen by the surgeons. And then he has to book follow-up appointments and x-ray appointments. Every appointment was booked on their time, and they wouldn't let me know when. So I tried to call, they wouldn't give me the name of the doctor, and they really wouldn't give me any information at all when I called in. They said I had to come in, which fair enough, it's a minor, they don't know who's on the phone. But if I go in, then I have to see her. And do you think that she's gonna give me the information? And I don't know if I could, honestly, if I could control myself enough when I went in to not give them all the information, because I don't want her fired. She's, I'm not that horrible. So I decided, fair enough, to not go in and just let it go and let her do all of the appointments. But I said to Nick, dude, that's really shitty. You do this all the time. You don't tell me stuff until days after because you don't want me showing up at the hospital. So can you just tell me if anything happens next time? Yeah. So he gets released and he goes back to hockey. He's in Bantam, hitting, breaks his collarbone again. Do you think I was told? She wants to play the role of the mom. I remind her of a life before her. Nick had a life, kids before her. She actually walked in and broke that up, but I should send her a thank you card. Maybe this is a thank you TikTok. Thanks, Ashley. She would go far enough to erase me to tell the kids, even when they were 7 years old, you're not allowed to talk about your mom in this house. You're not allowed to call your mom in this house. I was not allowed to call my kids. They weren't allowed to say I love you if I was on the phone with them. They weren't allowed any pictures of them in the house prior to Ashley and him hooking up. So it goes further than wanting to find stuff out. She literally tries to erase me. So weird.
Stepmom moved my brother's stuff out of his room to move in her son. To give context, my brother was around 17 years old. My stepmom's son was maybe 2 years younger. I think she moved in because her lease was coming up and my dad wanted her to move in. But the only problem was it was a 3-bedroom house, so it was my dad's room, my room, and my brother's room. So my dad took it upon himself to say it was okay for my stepbrother to move out my brother's stuff so he can move into his room. So every other weekend, my brother couldn't go over there to see his dad. Or if he wanted to go, my brother had to sleep on the couch. But eventually my brother was like, fuck no, he's not going to do this. So he ended up staying at my mom's while I would do visitation with my dad. And as a mother, why would you want to move out someone who was there before you? Why couldn't they just get a bigger house? Or why couldn't they wait until my brother was, wait till he was able to go to college, and stuff like that to move his stuff out? That is just so fucked up and very inconvenient on my brother. And it definitely made my brother look at my dad a certain way. But, to me, I was 15, so I definitely understood. I was 14, so I definitely understood what was going on. I think my dad was trying to do was just keep up with my mom, because at the time my mom was remarried, or she was dating. I'm not sure. But either way, she was dating and he moved inside of my mom's home. If you go back to my other video, my dad is a bitter baby daddy. Cared more about what he could do next to hurt my mom, anything to make her jealous, so doing that was something that would piss her off. And my brother, he wasn't a bad kid. It's just that my mom couldn't have a weekend off to herself. Instead, my brother had to stay there because he had no room to sleep in. And to be a woman and to let your new boyfriend do that to his child is really fucked up, because why would you do that? But I don't blame her. Like, you know, well, I do blame her because she's grown and she knows better, but it's really my dad allowing her to do that and thinking that was okay, and she thought that was okay. Like, the long-term emotional effects that has on your kids is not good. And I think that my stepbrother had an opinion on this. Like, I don't think he wanted to move over there. But yeah, just like I said before, being a stepchild isn't always easy on us too. Like, we have to change our lifestyles to make y'all happy.
I need you guys to tell me if I'm in the wrong, if I'm overreacting. My husband and I have been together for 17 years now. When I came into this marriage, I had a 1-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. My daughter's father didn't want anything to do with me or my daughter. So I met another man 17 years ago. My husband has taken my daughter in as his own daughter, okay? Like most relationships, like normal marriages, my husband and I have been through our fair share of ups and downs. Last year was probably the worst year that we have experienced in our marriage. We have since then gone through counseling, we've gotten help. My husband has gotten his own help, and he's really been working on himself, because granted, neither one of us have been complete angels during this marriage, but my husband has taken the steps that he needs to work on his own personal trauma. So anyway, for some reason, a little bit of a backstory, my parents have never really liked my husband. So when my husband and I were going through our rough patch, I did take the kids and spend some time back home with my parents. And so during the few days that I was with my parents, they expressed to me their concern, obviously their concern, their displeasure with my husband, telling me how he was no good, all this other stuff. Anyway, like I said, my husband worked on what he had to work on. I ended up coming back home to my husband. And my parents told my daughter, who is now 17 years old, that my current husband is not her real father. Now, granted, my husband and I were going to tell my daughter this on our own when we felt like the time was right. And we felt that news should have come from us. But my mother took it upon herself to tell my daughter that the man that she has known as her father is not actually her father. And my mom told her that out of spite. Should I be mad? But not only that, my husband and I decided that we should relocate to a different state. We've decided to move to New Mexico, and we want to be closer to my husband's son, who obviously I've also been in his life for the majority of his life, and his son now has a daughter. So we just want to be closer to his son, our grandchild, and my parents, but mostly my mom, has been upset about this. She's upset that we're moving, and she took to Facebook and made a public Facebook post, ranting and raving, saying how I've chosen men over my children. And I am just wondering, do you think I'm in the wrong? Do you think I'm overreacting about this?